In the time of corrupt DC, I want my money. Gravy in my veins, and my son Hunter is a junkie. With the plastic-faced wife, spray paints her dresses. My dog bites you all while I'm sniffing the pantyhose. So you ain't black, but they'll call me dark. Branded on the food stamps, burning down the country hard. Yo, cut it. Fear. I fall down the stairs. I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you impeach me?
Joe Biden, on his way out, decided to pardon his entire family. Missing from this list is the name Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden up here as President of the United States, to all whom these presents shall come greeting. Be it known that on this day, Joe Biden, United States, pursuant to my powers under Article of the Constitution, I've granted to James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, that's James Biden's wife, Valerie Biden Owens, that's the sister, John T. Owens, and Francis W. Biden, these are his brothers and family, full and unconditional pardon, going all the way back to 2014 when all the Burisma business began. Now, why are we bringing this up? Because this happened on Monday, and that seems like an eternity ago in this news cycle. Well, because Donald Trump has often promised retribution. Donald Trump has promised to be our retribution. Donald Trump has regularly promised that he is not going to treat kindly the people who have destroyed this country. And when Donald Trump says things like, my revenge will be success, and I will be a dictator on just for one day. Just one day. Maybe you should listen. Donald Trump is not happy about the way that he was treated. Donald Trump is angry about it, and he has every damn right to be. Donald Trump called Joe Biden and his ilk scum yesterday during a live interview with Sean Hannity that we covered as well. Here's how it went.
Through 4 years of hell by this scum that we had to deal with. I went through 4 years of hell. I spent millions of dollars in legal fees, and I won. But I did it the hard way. It's really hard to say that they shouldn't have to go through it also. It is very hard to say that.
That they shouldn't have to go through it also. And who he's talking about, of course, is Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and the Biden Justice Department, who have used the federal government and the unlimited resources of the federal government to attack private citizens. And, you know, it's very expensive, actually, when you don't have government lawyers and taxpayers footing the bill. It's going to cost you millions and millions of dollars just to, like, defend yourself against subpoenas. It is a torturous process. It's a way to bankrupt somebody, and it's a way to actually end them without ever having to get a conviction. How much has Donald Trump paid in legal fees this year alone? It has to be to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. And the vast majority of Americans don't have that kind of cash lying around. And so Donald Trump was saying this last night, and the note got brought up that Joe Biden didn't pardon himself. Now, Joe Biden didn't actually pardon himself. He pardoned his family, which is a little curious because it was Joe Biden who was the ringleader in all of this. Now, what happened next was Donald Trump talked about, hey, maybe it's time for us to prosecute Joe Biden. Well, you know, he just happened to forget to pardon himself since he's the person who ran this crime family. Maybe this is the moment.
Biden, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, who got a preemptive pardon. All these people that got pardoned. Anthony Fauci. Did he know that NIH money through the EcoHealth Alliance was funding the Wuhan Virology Lab? There seems to be text and messages and emails that went back and forth. You talk about the unselect committee, as you call it, the January 6th committee. They had a predetermined outcome. General Milley, all these people, the Biden family members. Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's,
Well, you ordered the DOJ.
I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon. And he didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician. He made up the story about Russia. He totally made it up. He's a storyteller. And then after he made it up, they found out that there was a tape of the conversation made by, I guess, the State Department. I don't know. When you make calls, they make tapes sometimes, not all the time.
He was the one talking to the Russians.
So he, in the meantime, made up the conversation, totally made it up about quid pro quo. There was no quid pro quo, there was a perfect call. Tim Scott was the first one to come. He read it. He said, this is a perfect call. What are you doing? You're impeaching a man for a perfect call. It was Schiff, Hillary, the whole group. You know what? Schiff is just a bad, sick guy. And he went to Biden and he demanded a pardon because he thought he did something. He knew he did something.
Oh, man. There it was. I'm getting stressed out here. He just said Benny Thompson, right? So Sean Hannity just said Benny Thompson. But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is that Joe Biden seemingly made what might have been an actual mistake. Klein, can you load up some of these memes? These are actually really funny. What seems to have been a severe potential mistake. Joe Biden refused to pardon himself. And now all of the internet is ablaze with the question, hold up. The Supreme Court ruled pretty authoritatively that presidents cannot be prosecuted for official acts. This is how the ruling came down from the Supreme Court in a large majority ruling. So if you can't be prosecuted for an official act, then the question is, what are unofficial acts? Well, unofficial acts are when you're not president. When did Joe Biden make all of his money? When he was not president. When did Joe Biden commit all of his crimes? When he was not president. When did Burisma happen? And the China deal? When did all of this stuff happen? Either when Joe Biden was vice president or in the 4 years that Joe Biden wasn't serving at all. When did all of the classified documents live inside of Joe Biden's garage next to his Corvette? When was Joe Biden, the big guy, getting all this equity being held for him inside of all these shady deals? Yo, you could really put the screws to this guy, and then you could use his entire family to testify against him because now you've waived your Fourth Amendment rights. If you got a pardon. Trump hints at Biden prosecution. It's really hard to say that they shouldn't have to go through it all. Uh-oh. Oh, no. President Trump accused former President Joe Biden of corruption Wednesday and hinted that he may be prosecuted. It's really hard to say they shouldn't have to go through it, Trump says in his first TV interview returning to the White House. Trump 78 said that Biden 82 received a very, very bad advice to pardon 5 relatives, but not himself. Minutes before leaving the office and heading off, inquiries into the Biden family business dealings remain unanswered. The funny thing is, the sad thing is, he didn't give himself a pardon. Says Trump. Look at this photo. And then you got Joe over here. Oh, man. He knows, doesn't he? This is a great photo. He knows. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Joe Biden does always look like one of those wax Madame Tussauds figures, of Joe Biden. If Madame Tussauds did a Joe Biden wax figure, it's actually what Joe Biden looks like. He looks like a formaldehyde corpse. When they do an open casket, and you're like, ew, yikes. When they have Vladimir Lenin, right, under glass for 80 years in the Soviet Union, and you can go up there and see Lenin, Yeah, this is like what Joe Biden looks like. Anyway, the point is, and if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him, says Donald Trump. This is correct. Biden pardoned all 3 of his siblings, including his brother James and their 2 spouses, pardoning his son Hunter. I went through 4 years of this scum and had to deal with it, said Donald Trump. Remember this, Trump went on. Joe Biden got very bad advice. Joe Biden, very bad advisors. Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. At one point in the interview, Hannity asked Trump if he had ordered the DOJ to investigate Biden. Look, he didn't give a pardon to himself, and he didn't give some other people pardons that needed it. Okay. Very much looking forward to that. Nancy Pelosi didn't get a pardon. Tick-tock, Nancy. Hope your trades are going well, and you've saved up some money for lawyers. For years, James Biden leveraged his brother's powerful role as a senator and vice president to lure domestic and international business, in many cases partnering with his son Hunter, and it's unclear what possible crimes Joe Biden would be investigated by the Trump department. Some theoretical offenses, such as infractions under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, have 5-year statutes of limitations and would not be chargeable. Investigations can happen into this kind of stuff without you having to bring charges. You can just open investigations. It's rare for a former president to face criminal investigation charges. However, Biden's Justice Department indicted Trump on a pair of cases after his first term, allegedly mishandling classified documents. Biden, like Trump, was investigated for mishandling classified documents, but they said that he was an elderly man with too poor of a memory. Yes, Joe Biden needs to wear a helmet to go to the bathroom, and so that's why they said they can't charge him. So anyway, the point is we may be getting a Joe Biden prosecution from Donald Trump, which I would love. Concerned about is fair play, and maybe the easiest way, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and the easiest way to fix all this is just to scorch the earth, to salt the earth. Make them feel the same pain, and then they'll stop doing it. This guy went around giving everybody pardons, and the funny thing is, the sad thing is, that he didn't give himself a pardon, said Donald Trump knowingly, saying that he went through hell, and nobody should have to go through this again. And so maybe the best way to prove, maybe the best deterrent, we always talk about this, nuclear deterrence. Why does nuclear deterrence work? Because, well, your enemy has a nuke too. And so you want to not launch nukes because I want to launch a nuke at you. And wouldn't that be nice to launch a nuke, proverbially, at the Bidens? So that nobody does this kind of lawfare against their political enemies ever again. That would be a good deterrence. Right now, all they've done is go after Donald Trump. So technically, until this is reversed and against the left, they're going to still assume that this is just open season to attack Trump and Trump supporters. Mike Johnson, who's really coming to his own, quite frankly, I think he's been doing actually a pretty great job. Speaker Mike Johnson says that Congress must investigate Joe Biden's pardons of his family members and Joe Biden. Oh my, here we go.
Speaker, to potentially have any type of congressional action on the pardons that President Biden issued over the last couple of days?
It was shocking. I mean, it was shocking what President Biden did on the way out, pardoning his family for more than a decade of whatever activity, any nonviolent offenses. It was breathtaking to us. I don't think that's anything like that's ever been anticipated. And by the way, go look at the tape. 4 years ago, when it was just implied that President Trump might do something similar, they were apoplectic. Joe Biden himself, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer. Roll the tape. They all said that would be crazy and unconscionable, and now they're cheering it along. To us, it is disgusting. To us, it probably proves the point, the suspicion that, they call it the Biden crime family. If they weren't the crime family, why do they need pardons, right? Look, there's a lot of attention that's going to be paid to this, and I think that is appropriate, and we will be looking at it as well. So, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Man, boy's got his big boy pants on now. He's ready. He's actually behaving like a true leader, like a true speaker. I think it takes you a second to sort of corral the chickens. But now Mike Johnson is doing what we hired him to do, right? And this is exactly what Congress should be looking at and investigating. And oh, by the way, it is the House that can refer for prosecution and jail people like Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro. They did this to them, and now it's time for nuclear deterrence, ladies and gentlemen.